Well, I appreciate you guys showing up again and watching and listening to another episode of the Jiu-Jitsu Takedown podcast. All right, so look, my next guest needs no introduction as well. He's been in Jiu-Jitsu 28 years. He's a black belt under Master Pedro Sauer. And there's a backstory here, and I gotta share it with you guys. All right, look, we're just getting over the COVID-19 pandemic, poking our heads up and everything. So this actual episode's been in my archive literally for a month or two, a few months. Okay. During the seminar with Master Pedro Sauer, Sean comes up to me. He's one of our brown belts and instructors at the academy. It's like, hey, you know who that is out in the parking lot? Turns out, Professor Owen is a black belt under Master Sauer and has been in Jiu-Jitsu for like 28 years. Up there in Idaho, he's got Team RHINO behind him, and you know we got a few people we know here in town that are under his lineage. So it's really awesome that we know these guys. All right, so check it out. And not only that, he's an instructor on BJJ Fanatics. So trust me when I tell you, I hope you guys will really enjoy this, because this episode was shot literally in a hotel lobby. So I want you to check it out. Watch this.
As hard as you want, as long as you don't get hurt or get old.
Right. I hear you on that, and I hear you preach that a lot in your messages.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you've been listening to
I
it.
have. I have. I'd be saying no. I'd be saying I'm lying if I did. Yeah, I've done a little research because it's important. You know?
And I just preach what Professor said. I back him up because he has the right way. He's totally awesome. He does the right way. He's a master. You saw that today, and I'm sure you were like, "Holy shit!
Yeah,
I can't believe."
Yeah,
that is so easy.
It lifts your eyebrows, like, huh?
That is so easy. Yeah, and it works that easy.
Yeah, it's incredible stuff.
Yeah,
I'm gonna kick this off real quick.
Go ahead.
Hey, I appreciate you guys stopping in and listening and watching. For those of you guys that do not know me, my name is Jameson Sharp, and this is
Keith Owen.
This is Professor Keith Owen. He is a black belt under Professor Pedro Sauer, and today this weekend, we spent some time with Master Pedro Sauer here in Kansas City, Gracie Huamaita, Kansas City. I'm literally at Professor Owen's hotel right now doing this because this kind of came up at the last minute, but you know what? I could not pass this opportunity up because look, let's face it, the guy's known out there.
We're hanging out.
There you go. You know, it's incredible wherever you go and whoever you meet in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you're going to have a lot of things that intersect. And I was sitting here getting to know Professor Owen. It's crazy. He's in the firearms. I mean, he's been teaching Jiu-Jitsu for how long now?
I think 28 years. I'd have to count, but I think 28.
You know, speaking of his story, if you haven't heard his story, we're about to cover that tonight. Look, Professor Owen, you got to hook us up here.
Okay.
What is your story? Tell us how it all started for you, getting into Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. First of all, where are you from and what's your academy?
Well, my academy is called, my academy is Gracie Jiu Jitsu. Team RHINO Gracie Jiu Jitsu is what we do. And it's in Boise, Idaho. Okay. And I've been teaching for a good long time. And we've been in this location in Boise for about 14 years. That's what I'm trying to remember, is how long I've been in that location. And it's been about 14, 15 years. Wow. And it's just a great job. I don't even work, man. I just have a great job of teaching jiu-jitsu. It's like people go, "Oh, you know, is it hard work?" I don't work. Yeah. I go train and teach and have a good time, and then I get to come to Kansas City and hang out and talk to people like you. And this is a great life.
It's enjoyable.
How I got started, if you're interested in how I got started in jiu-jitsu, I think I was 24 or 23 years old, and there was no jiu-jitsu in the world. I had a black belt in stand-up martial arts. Yeah. So it was kung fu, and I had just gotten my black belt, and I thought I was a badass. All right, and I thought I was
right.
Good.
I get
and
that.
then I started reading Black Belt magazine, and in Black Belt magazine they had this article on these guys named the Gracies.
Yeah.
And I'm reading this article and going, holy crap. And I liked grappling. I was, you know, I hate to say this, and it's kind of embarrassing, but I loved pro wrestling when I was a kid. I was into it, you know. And, you know, even though it was fake, I didn't really care or
Right,
really,
right.
I just put that aside, all right?
Yeah.
And I had done wrestling before, and it just sucked because everybody was just killing you and you got pinned, and it just, I did not like it.
Yeah.
And you know, I knew about tapping because in pro wrestling, they tap and stuff like that. And so anyway, but I did Kung Fu, and that was cool, and I thought I was a badass. And then I see the Gracies, and I go, whoa, that would be so cool. And they're in California. I live in Idaho. I don't know. And so I put it aside, right? I just go, okay, right? And I'm selling television at that time, 23, 24 TV advertising for NBC television.
All
and
right.
I go around and I'm living in Twin Falls, Idaho.
Oh man, it's got to be rough.
Little town, and I'm selling TV, and that was a fun job. And what was happening was I was taking a video to a customer.
Okay.
And it was Mel Qualley's Electronics.
Okay.
And it was not my client or anything like that. And I walk in and hey, I gotta deliver this promo for you. And the dude who was there, I didn't even know the guy. I mean, I walk in and this young guy is standing there. He goes, hey, thanks, man. And he looked at me just like this. And this is weird, man. And he looked at me and he goes, have you ever heard of the Gracies? And I'm like, why are you, like, you don't even know me, dude. And like, that's the first thing that pops out of your mouth is, you know, so when you're ready for something, it'll make its appearance, is what I'm telling you, right? Yeah. And I go, yeah, dude, I've heard of the Gracies. And he goes, I have this video of them fighting, because I had heard about the Gracie Challenge, but I didn't have the video or anything.
Right.
He goes, you want to see it?
Oh, man.
And I go, I'm like, I think I'm in a dream. And I go, yeah, I want to see this video. He goes, good. And well, it's an electronics store, so at the time he had the VCR tape, right? He put the VCR, and he goes, well, come on, man, let's go watch it. And I go, and we put it in, and the Gracies are sitting there kicking the shit out of people.
Yes,
in a fight, and it's over and over and over. And I'm watching this, and I'm going, my God, I got to learn this. I want to do this. Like, instantly, I fell in love with it. I go, I need to do this.
I know that feeling.
So we get done, and I look at, and his guy's name is Dean Heileman. Okay. And Dean goes, wow, this was cool, huh? I go, yeah. I go, Dean, would you want to do jiu-jitsu if I could find a place that we could do it? I mean, because you obviously brought it. He goes, oh, hell yeah, I want to do jiu-jitsu. That'd be cool. So I said, okay. I was like, fuck it. I don't even care. I'm going to go to the Gracie Academy if I have to. I'll travel down there, whatever. I am going to learn jiu-jitsu. Yeah. So I started looking around, and the internet was not, I don't even think there was, I don't know.
There wasn't any internet,
I don't know.
really.
So I'm looking around, reading, and trying to find someone, and there was only the Gracie Academy, and then Craig Kukuk and Henzo Gracie in New York. It was all I could find. Right. Then my limited search capacity, right? Yeah. And so then I heard that there was this dude named Pedro Sauer in Salt Lake City. And Salt Lake City from Twin Falls, Idaho is about 4 hours away. Okay. And I went, well, shit, I'm going to go train with this guy, right? Yeah. And so I call him up, and I get somebody else, and they say, yeah, come on down, right? And I go, okay, I'm going to come on down. And so I went on down, took a private lesson with this brown belt who, there was no brown belts in the world, and this, you know. And so I took that, and I was hooked, and then I met Professor Sauer, and it was like, and he was a second-degree black belt at the time, so he'd already been in it for years. And he was a student of Elio Gracie, and I'm like, oh my God, you're the man that I want to take lessons. So I started taking lessons, and I'd go to Salt Lake and stay for weeks and everything like that, and taking lessons. And one of the things that was interesting in class is there was this dude in there, and he goes, oh man, I just live a block away, and it's just really hard for me to come to class sometimes. And I'm like, you dumbass. It took me 4 hours to get here to take this class. And I'm like I'm gonna stay here the whole week and take classes, and you live just a block away, and you can't even get your ass off the couch to come here and do jiu-jitsu. I didn't quite put it that way to him. So after that, I mean, I was hooked, and I have stayed in Dean Heileman. Okay. You know, back to him. Yeah. I started teaching him. So we started learning together, and then we both started going up to see Professor. And eventually, Dean got his black belt in jiu-jitsu.
No, that's how I know his name.
Yeah, because Professor was talking about it today.
That's right, he was. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the guy, right? And I introduced Dean to Professor, right? And you know, Dean is a great guy, but he died of cancer.
He's the one that passed away. Yeah, he died of spotted cancer. Okay.
And as his friend, I would go with him to his cancer treatments and stuff, and down in California and stuff, and you know, and he was a tough guy, man. He kept doing jiu-jitsu even when going through chemotherapy, and all of these things. And
Probably helped him.
and so 3 months after he got his black belt, he died.
Oh,
And he withered away quick, and I know, you know, and God bless him, but you know, he's no longer with us. But he did get his black belt. So the point is, if you're going to die, get a black belt in jiu-jitsu before you go, and that's what he did. And just an amazing kind of thing to.
He fulfilled his.
Even when he was sick, he was still grappling with people.
That's incredible.
And it was incredible, and he was doing great. You know.
I mean, that's the health benefits there, Gracie
That's the health.
Jiu-Jitsu. I mean, it's just in. Yeah.
He wasn't going to die until he got his black belt. He didn't say that to me, right? But you got to think that.
Sure.
So, and I think it was a great honor for Professor to give him his black belt too. So it was a very cool thing. It was sad, you know. We knew it was coming, but in a nutshell, like, what's the odds that I'm going to walk into this electronics store and this dude is just going to walk up? And that's what kicked it off, where I started doing jiu-jitsu. So I haven't forgotten that. It's like, in life, things happen for a certain reason.
They do.
And now I do seminars all over the world. I'm, you know, a fairly well-known jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
I do jiu-jitsu all the time. So I try to always talk jiu-jitsu whenever I can. I'm on social media talking jiu-jitsu all the time.
I talk jiu-jitsu all the time where I am and what I do, and people look at me like I'm absolutely crazy and
Yes,
like
we are crazy.
But you know what? If they would try it, they would understand it.
Yes, they would understand it. Yeah.
So you know, interesting history there with how you got started. And
Fascinating.
Professor Sauer is talking about over the years of them training together. And let me tell you something. When you're with someone that long, they become family. And look, I'll be straight with you here. As the jiu-jitsu community out there that watches or listens to this will understand, your academy teammates will become your family because you spend so much time with each other. Now, granted, there's going to be the white belts that come and go, you know, but if you
a lot of them,
and nothing wrong with that. Everybody's got their own thing. Maybe life happens.
Yeah.
Like,
well, there's a lot that can happen. You know?
Sure.
If it's not your family, it could be your health. There's a lot of reasons why people come and go. But.
Sure. But, you know, it's just the community's so small, but at the same time, it becomes your family. And, like, look, I've been doing this podcast literally for, like, less than a year, and it's getting known because people like this right here saying, Doc, yeah, sure, let's do it. Sounds cool, man.
Yeah. Sounds cool.
He had never heard of me before, and you know, I don't expect people ever hearing me before, but it's making
like, hey,
it
are we
around.
going to talk jiu-jitsu? Well, sure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, let's do it.
Why not? So, Professor, let me move on down the road here. In today's day and age with the self-defense versus the sport jiu-jitsu,
Sure.
what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm a self-defense guy, first of all, but I love sport jiu-jitsu too. So I represent, if you want to know what I represent self-defense first, but I'm totally into the sport side of it too. I think I look at both of those things and I see it, and I've gotten great moves from everybody. I am a thief of jiu-jitsu. I will steal from anybody. But there's a great divide that people think self-defense and then people think sport. But I think self-defense is super important because, I mean, when you're out on the street and somebody wants to beat you up and they want to punch you in the face and kick you, you need to know how to defend yourself on the concrete, not a cushy mat where you can do a nice double leg takedown on your knee. There's a lot of differences there. And I feel in today's jiu-jitsu that there's not a lot of respect on both sides. And the self-defense guys, I think going to a tournament is super awesome because at that moment you are against another human being right then and there, and it's game on. Who's got the best game right now, right? It's way better than going out and picking a fight at a bar, right? Because you don't go to jail and all of those things, and your life is on the line, quite frankly. But the seriousness of self-defense, your life is on the line. It is. And when you're in most tournament guys don't practice with punches, and when you don't practice with punches, you will get a big shock when you get punched in the face. And I'm going to tell you a secret about me. I don't like getting punched in the face. I do not like it. I've not enjoyed it. It hurts. And so I try to minimize my punches getting punched. And that's the big thing for self-defense is The punches are important, but there is nothing wrong with the tournament jiu-jitsu. And I think, but people come into my academy for self-defense. They don't go, I want to be the next world tournament champion. So they want self-defense.
Right.
And I think even if, I'm going to just say this, if you are a tournament person, if you would just take 30% of your jiu-jitsu and make it self-defense, I think you'd get more people into your schools, and it's really easy to learn the self-defense, and you can move on to the sport jiu-jitsu, no problem.
Yeah.
But you're backed up, and that's what I do with my guys. I mean, we're probably 40-50%. I teach self-defense, and the curriculum is all for that. But then they want to know tournament stuff. I help them with that too. And I might get in trouble for that, or I might get looked down upon, but I don't care. The people, I want them to do whatever they want to do. They want to go, self-defense guys go do tournaments too.
Yes, they do.
So I'm big on that, and I'm cool. And Team RHINO was...
Tell us about Team RHINO, because that's your team.
Yeah. And Professor Sauer is nice enough to let me branch off and have my own team, and I have about 15 affiliates across the country.
Okay.
We're going to have more eventually, but I've had my affiliates now for, I don't know, 5-6 years now, and just a bunch of great people. And what my goal is in life, and this is literally my goal, I'm not just bullshitting because I'm talking right now.
Yeah.
I get up every day and I'm trying to spread jiu-jitsu to the population. I want people to take jiu-jitsu. I want women to take jiu-jitsu, and I want guys to take jiu-jitsu. Women need the self-defense, especially
Absolutely.
in today's day and age, and it will empower them to be stronger, tougher people when they can choke somebody's ass out who's messing with them.
Yeah.
And it'll also help guys to become better people where they don't have to go out and fight because they know they can kick the crap out of somebody. And I'm going to tell you this, Doc, a lot of martial arts today are really crappy.
Oh,
and do
my
not even
God.
come close to jiu-jitsu.
You're absolutely right.
I'm not mincing words.
No.
Jiu-jitsu will allow you to really honestly defend yourself.
Yes,
and it is my job to go promote that across the world, to get more people in, not less, because quite frankly, Taekwondo is the most popular martial art in the world, and I'm not really impressed with it. There's a lot of Taekwondo that's good. I've met a lot of Taekwondo guys that can defend themselves, but I've met a lot of guys that can't, and I'm not even picking on Taekwondo. It could be a lot.
Sure.
Jiu-Jitsu is the way to defend yourself, and that's what the Gracie Challenge was all about.
Exactly.
Right, and the Gracie Challenge stated that at the beginning of the dawn of jiu-jitsu back in the day,
Yeah, right.
is that you could come in to our school sight unseen, and we will fight you right then and there, right? Whoever's, they will fight you, and I've seen video after video of these same fights, right? Well, you're not going to get that any other place, man. And jiu-jitsu is the real deal.
It is the real deal.
It's the real deal, and I'm not saying wrestling's not the real deal or any other ground fighting. I mean, that's a real deal too.
Sure.
But jiu-jitsu is made for a smaller, weaker person to defend themselves against a bigger, stronger individual.
And that's where Grandmaster Elio came in and
Yes.
perfected jiu-jitsu after he learned it from Carlos and them.
Yes.
And-
And for me, I'm a big guy. I'm 6'4",
Yeah.
150 pounds, give or take.
Sure.
But it's for a big guy. I can choose wherever I want to be on the ground, right? I mean, it's a lot more. I have a lot more choices as a big guy, so I'm spoiled way a lot more than a small guy who's going to get their ass kicked. And what does a small guy do, right? A small guy doesn't need to just say, yes, sir, I'll do whatever you say. If a small guy needs to defend themselves, jiu-jitsu is the way. If you don't have a 45,
Hey,
jiu-jitsu is the way to go.
That's
man.
it.
And
I mean,
back yourself up with that.
it's like Jocko says, beyond having a firearm, a weapon, jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu is your next best
Is your
option.
next best option. It really works, and we're not teaching crap. We're teaching stuff that's actually going to help you in a real fight, and that's what my whole goal in life. When I get up every morning, I'm excited to help the world, getting people in. Like today, at the seminar with Pedro Sauer that we were at, there's all these white belts, and I just want to help them.
Yeah.
I want you to stay and do jiu-jitsu, right? Not for me, I'm not making any money, but to spread the word of jiu-jitsu, right? And
It improves people's lives and it helps
improves
them.
people's lives.
Yeah.
And it's been, I'm on a great journey. That's why I don't work. I don't work.
That's the thing about, jiu-jitsu. When you're
Yeah.
on that journey, it's not about work. It's about enjoying your
Yeah,
journey.
when you love what you do, you never work. And that's truly what I do. And, Professor Sauer is the same way. I mean, he ain't working. He's
No.
having a great time.
he really is.
And he's kicking ass, and it's just really awesome. And I want to be like that.
He's so smooth with his details and finessed.
Yeah.
I mean, he rolled the guy into an arm bar, literally, off of his chest. I was like, holy cow, how do you do that? And he's got these little details. It's just incredible. If you ever get a chance to go to one of his seminars and spend some time with him, do it. Speaking of fighting, Professor Sauer, Master Sauer.
Master Sauer. Yes.
Look, he ain't no joke. Everybody's seen his video out there of him going against
Mr. Utah.
Mr. Utah.
Big bodybuilder.
Big
dude.
250-pound bodybuilder. He's Professor Sauer. He's 150 pounds, soaking wet.
Can I tell the story?
Please.
Sight unseen, the dude said, "Jiu-Jitsu sucks. I want to fight Pedro Sauer," because that was the only guy that was there in Utah.
Yeah, right.
Professor Sight Unseen said, "I'll fight you. This is the day." Because we were doing the Gracie Challenge. They were doing the Gracie Challenge at the time, and I wasn't there. I had left,
Right.
and I wish I had been there to see the fight. But we've seen the video,
Right.
And this dude was
He was
yoked,
stacked.
dude. He's
stacked.
I don't know about any steroids or anything.
He was on
but
steroids. I'm
you
sorry.
Okay.
You don't get that big without him.
And so Professor comes in wearing his gi, right? And this dude is oiled up. He oiled himself up, and he's just in shorts.
He's
He's
doing this.
That dude was trying to punch Professor.
He was.
At the end of the fight, Professor tapped him out with an armbar.
Yes, he did.
And the dude was like, "I didn't tap, but he tapped. You could see
he
it
did.
tap.
You could see it.
And, you know, good job. He was fighting Professor. That's cool. He tapped, but then he said he didn't. And then Professor goes, "Well,
I can do it
we'll
again."
fight now, and there will be no taps." And the guy goes, "Oh no!" They hustled him out of there. Professor's gi was covered in blood.
Yeah.
And not one drop of it was his.
Nope.
And Professor's a badass, man.
Yes, he
He's
is.
a badass. He's a very nice man.
He's
and I've
very
seen him
nice.
mad on a couple of occasions.
Have you?
And yeah, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna go bad for you if you keep messing with him. So
Yeah, I don't think I want to see that side of me.
Professor Sauer is like the Mozart of Jiu-Jitsu. I think he's, no offense to anybody, right? And no offense to anybody, but I personally believe he's the greatest Jiu-Jitsu instructor in the world today because he knows so much, and he's the Mozart of Jiu-Jitsu. He just knows. So.
Yeah, he's got a certain finesse about him that I've seen others don't have.
Yes.
But he is a 8th degree coral belt master. I mean, he
He
trained
deser-
literally
he
every day.
deserves that belt.
Well, I mean, when you're sitting there down in Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, with Hickson and Grandmaster Elio and literally the family.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he got his black belt from Hickson and Elio Gracie.
Right.
So he's really close to the source of jiu-jitsu.
He is.
So,
Yeah.
and that makes me happy. And
There is never any indisputable evidence that Master Sauer is not one of the top level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu professors ever.
ever. And let's take that away. Let's just put that away.
Sure.
He's one of the nicest,
Oh, yeah.
most honest, decent human beings that I've ever met in my life. I mean, there's very few men in the world that I look up to and go, oh my gosh, you are, I don't have a lot of heroes, but Pedro Sauer, he's just lived up to everything that he's been built. He's just a cool dude.
He's so genuine. He's so not only nice, but interested in you.
Yeah, he's interested in you. Yeah.
He's interested in you. He'll stop what he's doing in class. You know what? He'll go outside and talk to the kids' parents because he wants the kids to do well.
Yeah, he wants everyone to do well. He has that same vision of spreading jiu-jitsu, and he has 150 affiliates all across the world, and the guy just travels all the time, and he's spreading awesome jiu-jitsu.
He is. And I've heard that it takes a few years to get him in for your seminar.
Well,
I don't doubt that at all, by the way.
He's a very busy man.
Yeah.
And he does very well at his seminars too. He's worth every penny that you pay him. It's just beautiful. So
I'd have to agree with you on that.
busy.
He travels all the time.
Yeah.
So I imagine that takes a toll on his personal life as well.
But
he
makes
living-
everything work. Man.
He does.
The dude just makes it all work. He's
got-
got a beautiful family, 5 daughters. They're wonderful, beautiful, nice, successful. His wife's awesome, man. Just guys, he is a good example of what a human being is in jiu-jitsu. And I know I'm talking him up real big, but I
it's
believe
true.
every freaking word
It's
I'm
just-
saying. right
everybody
now.
that knows Master Sauer loves him.
Yes, everybody loves him.
Everybody does. Care who you are. Yeah. So moving on here,
Yeah.
Professor Owens, tell us about where you're going in the future.
Well, I have my Team RHINO Association, and you know, everything that I try to do, I try to put Master Sauer first. You know, I'm trying to spread that Pedro Sauer Jiu-Jitsu, and the Team RHINO Association is a little different from his association. You know, we do a lot of free affiliation. You know, and not all of it's free, but we want people that. All I want is for affiliates are good people,
Sure.
like nice, honest, decent people. I don't care what your jiu-jitsu looks like, because I can fix that. I can't fix a broken person. I'm not a psychologist. So,
understand
well,
that.
I'm looking for. I collect awesome, decent people, and so we're trying. You know, I'm trying to get affiliates that might not have access to good jiu-jitsu, but might not even have the money to be able to afford it too at the same time. You know?
I could
but
see
want
it,
to carry on the mission of getting people into jiu-jitsu where they can succeed and make black belts. Man, that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
I only do two things: I get white belts and I make black belts. So
you know, I don't mean to put you on the spot here or anything.
you are.
All right, maybe I am. Before I knew you, met you, you know, some people's told me that, you know, sometimes you've been out there on the internet kind of labeled as the black sheep of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Is there any truth to that at all?
Nah, I don't give a shit.
Okay. Well,
No,
there you go.
in everything you do, what I've learned is that there are people that don't like you. You can
Sure.
just wake up in the morning and people don't like you. And I honestly have not gotten up in the morning going, how can I screw people over? How can I wreck lives? How can I do anything? How can I, you know, take advantage of it? I don't try to take advantage of anybody. I'm trying to lead a good life. And I'm going to have people that hate me. And I've collected a lot of them. It's really impressive.
And
you know?
anything you do, they're always going to be around.
When you're successful,
People
are going to hate you.
Exactly.
And it's like, I do not care who hates me, because I got a lot of people that really like me, and that's cool. I deal with that. But if I'm the black sheep, that is a great idea. And I probably am, you know. I do things, I follow Pedro Sauer, but I do things
your own way.
I have my own style of doing things, and there's people who don't like me, and it's totally cool. I don't care.
There's nothing wrong with
But
that.
when I die, everyone's going to say good things. You know, when a guy dies, oh yeah, he was such a wonderful guy. I love, you know, Saddam Hussein. Oh, he's probably a wonderful guy. We love him. Oh, he's done so much for Iraq.
Oh man.
No, so
I get
you know,
it, yeah.
I can't. I'm not bothered by any of that.
That's cool.
You know, the more people talk about me, the more I like it. So I'm just trying to be the best person I possibly can, and some people don't like that, and they can go F off. So
I appreciate that. And
People
I can relate
seriously
to that.
F themselves.
I
so.
can relate to that.
It
I
bothers
get
me
people
not.
out there talking about me being literally a white belt and producing this podcast with
Oh,
people
God.
out of my
Yeah.
range of where I should be
Yeah.
talking. But the truth is, who
You love
better
it.
else?
You love it.
I love it. Who
Yeah.
better else to go out there and seek the experts, sit down with them, and throw screwballs their way?
Yeah, and maybe people listening right now are white belts or are interested
Yes.
in jiu-jitsu, and my talking about it might get them to go, you know what, I think I'm going to go do this. You know what
You
I'm saying?
should.
Joe Rogan talks a lot about it, you
yeah.
know? And there's a lot of people that hate Joe Rogan. It's like,
Yeah.
you know, Eddie Bravo comes to mind when I think black sheep.
Yeah,
and people
there's
hate
one,
him.
yeah.
He doesn't give a
doesn't
shit.
care.
And he's
Yeah.
just a famous guy that everybody, you know, a lot of people respect. And I like a lot of his moves and stuff, so. You
Yeah,
know.
he definitely has a different take on his jiu-jitsu. He removed the gi because he said he wanted to make it better.
Yeah, I've stolen a lot of moves.
Yeah?
It's funny because back in the day when Eddie Bravo was out there, you know, starting 10th Planet, and
Sure.
it was people, the gi guys were all like, oh, no, we don't like any of this. So I was like, hey, I love jiu-jitsu, and I will learn from anybody. I just want to see jiu-jitsu, right? And I would be stealing stuff, and then I'd be in the gi, and I would show them, and people go, oh my God, that is so mind-blowing. And I go, yeah, that's a 10th Planet move I stole. And they were like, oh. So it's, you know, it's political, you know,
It
and
is.
stuff like that. So there's a lot of, anybody stands out as a black sheep, I suppose, and I'm just going to be a leader who's going to lead people to black belt. That's my goal, and I'm no one's getting in my road. I'm not gonna let people talk about me and get me down and stuff. So I don't care.
Well,
I make black belts, man.
I appreciate this
do.
guy a lot. I really do. Just sitting down with me and being straight up with me, because a lot of people don't have the gall to do that. So
Yeah,
I
I'll
appreciate
tell you the
that.
truth. And that's probably why I'm a black sheep.
There's
I'll tell
truth
you the
in that.
truth. I'll tell the truth
There's
about
truth in
stuff.
that. Absolutely. So that brings me up to my last point here before I shut this.
I know
thing
there's
down.
a lot of Taekwondo guys now that are going to hate me for what I just said.
Well, you
and
know-
I didn't mean to, but I'm just saying Jiu-Jitsu. It's the truth.
It's the truth.
It's the truth. I'm here to tell the truth.
Look, I am not a black belt. I am not a purple or even a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but check this out. I was at the Kansas Olympics, or what they call the Sunflower State Games, earlier this year, representing Gracie Huamaita out there for us. And I went over into the Taekwondo section, and literally, I could not understand this. They're making kids black belts. And there's no technique. I don't understand Taekwondo, but I'll say this: it all sucked, and people are going to hate on me for that. But the truth is, I'm a warrior. I'm a battle-tested warrior. I've been to war. Have you? So look, when you go out there, you start striking with gloves and everything. You ain't got no technique. You're falling down. I understand. I can appreciate, going for points. I can appreciate perfecting your technique however you see fit. But in a self-defense situation, that's going to get you killed. I'm sorry.
And what I want to do in Team RHINO is I want to branch out into the more of the stand-up martial arts schools, because I've done stand-up martial arts a lot too. I mean, I have a couple black belts in stand-up martial arts. I think stand-up martial arts people need jiu-jitsu. I mean, because
Of course they do.
I'm not saying get rid of your stand-up martial arts.
No.
Not in the all. I
No.
say that rocks. But what I am saying is you need a ground component to your martial art. And if you don't have a ground component, the minute you hit the ground, this is all over. You've wasted your time. But I believe the stand-up martial arts, if they just had a jiu-jitsu ground component, and it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be like super deep into it. But our curriculum in Team RHINO is for standing up. At the beginning, when you come into our class, it's about getting back to your feet, getting up, standing up. And that's why I believe the stand-up martial arts schools could really benefit from
Sure.
it. Because
Sure.
locally, a stand-up martial arts school owner, is he going to go to the local jiu-jitsu school? Well, why would the jiu-jitsu guy want this dude who's a competitor, and then you're going to teach? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So a lot of the affiliates that I have are stand-up martial arts guys that wanted to do jiu-jitsu too, right, and have that in their program. And so I guess that's what I'm saying when I say I have a little different. I'm trying to spread jiu-jitsu to everybody so they can learn to defend themselves. And the stand-up guys, they need it.
Yeah, of
they
course
need
they
it in their, and that's all they need. They already got the stand-up portion. They just need some groundwork too.
Yeah.
I'm a big believer in that. So.
I have to agree with you on that, because any way you can make space and create distance, that's life-saving.
Yeah, we don't want to. This is going to sound stupid coming from me, but I don't think you should be grappling on the ground out in the street, because if you do, it hurts to begin with.
Yeah.
And then their buddy comes up and he starts kicking the shit out of you.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's great one-on-one, and I mean, but what else do you have if you get taken to the ground? You've got jiu-jitsu, right? So it's like an insurance policy.
Yep.
In your fight, right? Well, you should have a stand-up component too, and that's what I'm teaching to my guys. Is I want them to be able to punch and kick too, and then be able to take off if they want to, not have to go to the ground all the time, because sometimes it's not good in a fight. I mean, especially if you got 3 dudes who are attacking you. But, but what do you do if they do take you to the ground and that's all you have? You got to deal with it.
You got to roll with it. You got to have something in the back pocket to
And
pull
I guess
out.
that's why I'm a black sheep, because I preach that, hey, don't do jiu-jitsu out on the street if you can help it, because it's not really the smartest idea when there's someone's kicking the you got a bunch of guys jumping on you or whatever, and you're caught on the ground, right? And we do a lot of, in the Team RHINO, we do a lot of getting back up, or we're on top of somebody, and somebody's coming to kick you in the face, their crazy cousin, and how to disengage from that guy and get back on your feet, because that's, I feel, is an important thing for street self-defense.
A lot of law enforcement training with the Gracie Jiu Jitsu is the same way.
Well,
you want to disengage.
I pioneered the ground control program for the Idaho Police Academy.
Yeah, you did say that, yeah.
20 years ago.
Tell us about it. That's interesting.
Well, I used to be a reserve deputy for the Twin Falls County Sheriff's Department back in the day. Yeah. And so I was asked by Post to develop the ground control program at the time for them about 20 years ago. And Idaho is really advanced in that, advanced thinking like that, because there was nothing going on with law enforcement. So I developed the program for them, and I spent 10 years teaching that to the recruits that were coming through there. And in that time, Idaho, knock on wood, hasn't had a law enforcement death.
Is that right?
Yeah, due to there have been some officers shot, of course, but nobody has gotten beaten to the point where someone's taken their gun or something like that. You know, people get. I'm not a driving instructor, but a lot of cops have been killed in driving their car, right, wrecking their car, which is very unfortunate. I don't have anything to do with that, but nobody has been severely beaten up or had their gun taken in Idaho law enforcement, as far as I can remember. And I will watch that stuff because it's a matter of pride. We're trying to keep people alive. And I have literally had, I'd say about 6 or 7 people call me and tell me what I taught them, help them out in the street, save their life in a law enforcement capacity. Well, so that gives my life meaning, you know what I'm saying? That's what I get up for.
That's Victoria.
Yeah, it's to help people.
That's results speaking for itself right there.
Results, and Jiu-Jitsu can do that. Jiu-Jitsu saves lives.
Absolutely.
It makes you a better person.
I preach that all the time on Twitter. Gracie Jiu-Jitsu saves lives, and people are like, oh, you karate guys. I'm like, ha, you don't even know what you're talking about.
And it just helps in a lot of different things, when done properly.
Right, and I see so many officers on Twitter, on these viral videos that get taken to the ground, manhandled, and they're using their tasers or whatever. They have not been trained. They have not been trained on how to deal with a ground situation.
Yeah.
And
one of my students, one of my black belts, his name is RHINO. He's a police officer. Okay. And he created, hope I'm saying it right, it's called Invictus, but I don't know what the rest of it is, Invictus Law Enforcement Training, where he is literally trying to get as many police officers as he can to study Jiu-Jitsu for their jobs and trying to get their departments, and a lot of departments still don't have any Jiu-Jitsu component to it.
Right.
And they want to make it mandatory, the hashtag make it mandatory,
Yeah.
that all law enforcement learn Jiu-Jitsu as part of their job because it'll save officers' lives over the time, and I commend it for him. 100%. And it's really starting to take off, and I just want him to succeed because we just want to save lives,
Sure.
That's and if we all start doing that in a law enforcement capacity, we could save lives, and in the street self-defense capacity, we could just save a lot of civilians too,
What better way to serve your community than to save lives and to teach officers how to save people's lives and their own lives?
What a great gig I have.
Hell yeah.
So it's like, I get paid for saving lives, man, and helping people out. And in so many kids I've helped out, I'm not trying to brag or anything, but it's just, it warms my heart to know that my life has meaning in helping these people out, and to become a better person. And so many people have told me they've had to defend themselves with their jiu-jitsu, and it's been awesome, so
they've been good to go.
There's going to be plenty more.
I got a question I'm just going to ask real quick. What's your thoughts on submission wrestling versus great older school Gracie Jiu-Jitsu?
Well, I'm just going to tell you what my thoughts are on Jiu-Jitsu, and then I'll just double back for submission wrestling. Jiu-Jitsu is made for a small person to defend themselves against a much bigger individual.
Right.
If you're a small person against a bigger person, you're not going to out-muscle them. And if you see wrestling and things like that, everything is in weight classes. MMA, you're familiar with MMA?
Yep.
They have weight classes, right?
Yeah.
And as a young person, when you're like, you could lose an arm as a young kid and it'll grow right back the next day.
Yeah.
We older guys, we get a bruise and it stays there forever, right? But when you're young like that, you can go super hard, right? And you're in their weight class, so you can muscle people a little bit more and use a lot more athleticism. But in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, we always assume that everybody is bigger and stronger than us.
Sure.
Even me. Anybody I grapple with is going to be bigger and stronger than me. That's all I say. And I know I grapple smaller people. But when I have that attitude, and how much bigger? 50 pounds heavier, 100 pounds heavier, right? When you have that attitude, you'll understand that only using the best technique that you can, technique meaning the right angle, with the right timing, using the right muscle groups, the right skeletal structure as you saw today, that if you understand that and you focus on that you could literally just tune a dude up who's way bigger, And I know size matters, but what does a small guy do? What does a small guy do? He's got to have
options.
Right, and the technique will last you all through your life. So you could be like 70, I'm 51 and I grapple all the time. I like 4 or 5 times a week I'm grappling, my black belts, guys who know jiu-jitsu, I'm sore and beat up, but I'm always trying that good technique. And and again, knock on wood, I don't get hurt very often, you know, and the injuries don't happen. And what happens is, if you're not looking for that perfect technique and you're not trying that and you're just using athletic ability, you will get hurt.
Yeah, that's what.
And you're gonna retire when you get to be a certain age because you're just too beat up all the time. Your neck hurts, your shoulder, and I have, again, knock on wood, I haven't had any major surgeries or anything like that because I am always thinking about doing the right technique and not getting injured. And what do you mean by right technique? Well, look at my hand. I know this is weird, but I'm using strength right now because I am lifting my hand, but I'm minimizing the strength that I use, right? Well, what people do is they're like, oh, and they're always tense all the time. Well, all my tense muscles, you do something real hard and fast on all my muscles, it pulled my muscle or something like that. And that's how you get hurt. But we're trained to be fluid and as Rickson Gracie says, flow with the go, right? And be able to move, and you complement their movements and then take advantage of it when you see the right time, right? And submission wrestling, while it's fantastic and I don't have a problem with it, it's a little more muscular than I personally think it needs to be, all right? And it's for people, anything in the same weight class is completely different than Gracie Jiu Jitsu. And that's, if you do tournament Jiu Jitsu, what's the difference between tournament Jiu Jitsu and Gracie Jiu Jitsu? Tournament is in your weight class, at your belt level, with your weight class, did I say that? And for a certain time limit. Sure. Right? And age group too, right? Everybody looks like you. The
parameters are all different.
And you're the same height. But in Gracie Jiu Jitsu, more self-defense, but we're always assuming people are 50 pounds heavier. Right. And if you can do Jiu Jitsu against 50-pound heavier people, you got to have good technique or you're not going to make it. So the submission wrestling, very athletic, younger guys who can get away with that stuff, and that's cool. What do older people do? I say go as hard as you want to. This is what I say: go as hard as you want. It's just use all the muscle you want. Just don't get injured and don't get old. Yeah, and you'll be fine. But if you do get injured or you do get old, you're going to need that technique, man. Yeah. And I'm going to do jiu-jitsu when I'm 80 years old against people that are 21, and I don't care what their level is. But you got a glimpse of it today with Pedro Sauer.
I did.
You saw it, and it's like seeing Sasquatch, dude. You just go, oh my God, that I can't believe what I just saw. Yeah. Right? You just go, holy crud, that's the jiu-jitsu. The way he espouses it, that you go, that's how jiu-jitsu should be done, right? And an example of this is if you grapple a 12-year-old kid, right, your child, right, and you're grappling them, you're not going to elbow them and break their arm and be mean to them and rough them up. You're going to go super light. Right. Well, Professor says you should grapple adults like that too. You should have that wherewithal that even if they're muscling the crap out of you, that they're trying to kill you, you're still using
nice and flowed.
Yeah, you're still using good. You'd be so surprised at how you hold a hand or an arm in the right direction. You saw that today. Yes. He was holding it in certain directions, and it made it super strong. And then there's super weakness, right? And I don't mean to go on like this because now I'm getting excited about teaching jiu-jitsu. But here's a for instance for you. If we were going to do weightlifting, okay, and I'm weightlifting, right, and bench press. Sure. You can tell I'm a weightlifter. Bench pressing, right? And I know I'd be down, and I'd go, what if I took the bar and put it up over my head and started bench pressing? Could I bench press the exact same weight as I could right here? What if I put it on my stomach?
It would be different.
You'd be going, stop that. You can't, that's poor technique, right? If I were going to do flies, the fly weights, I'm even inclined and I'm flying, right? And so it's going to be right here like this, right? And we've got we're going here, right? But if I started doing this, you'd be like, oh man,
hang on.
This is not you're
working too hard.
Those muscle groups are not the right ones to make this work at this weight class, right? So jiu-jitsu is all about shitty weightlifting. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, if guys are strong right here, right? You're trying to take that dude's armbar, but what happens if you just made him go up here?
It changes the dynamics a little bit.
He's not as strong.
Bingo.
Right, and I'm able to take advantage of his poor muscle groups. You see what I'm saying? Yep. And make him weak, right? And then I use my strong muscle groups, right, in the right conjunction, and you can't believe how effective it is, as opposed to just trying to use all your might,
brute force,
trying to make this dude's arm go on a dude that's ripped. You know, you're not going to do that, man. No. So, Professor's a master of that. He says jiu-jitsu is not fair.
He's right.
It's not fair.
You're doing it right. It's not.
It's because you are manipulating this guy's muscle groups, using good muscle groups for you, and taking advantage of his poor ones. I hope I explained that effectively.
But you did completely.
It's beautiful. So I'm always trying to do shitty weightlifting on people. I look at it and go, where are they weak? At what angles are they weak with their body, right? And when I know that and I take it back, it's like, oh, that was easy. And then they go, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. Well, I'm doing shitty weightlifting, dude. So, you know, wherever you're strong, I don't let you go there with your body. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, absolutely.
That's jiu-jitsu in a nutshell, and it's very effective.
Using the technique over brute strength.
Yeah, and women can learn it, right?
Oh,
and, we want to empower women in today's society. We
yeah.
talk about that. Well, get them in jiu-jitsu. Get your little girls in jiu-jitsu, and they'll learn to kick the shit out of people when they get older. Because you got to let them go. Well, maybe not. I don't know if you got to let them go on a date. You know, when they're 30, your little daughter goes. But you know, let her protect herself, and that guy will be like, yes, ma'am, I'm not messing with you.
It's like my girlfriend's little girl. Her name's Olivia. And my girlfriend's been talking about we need to get Olivia into jiu-jitsu, not only jiu-jitsu, but have her actively practicing jiu-jitsu with me in the house.
Yes.
Because, look, she's going to need that one day.
Absolutely.
I would be horrified to learn that I was able to teach her something that could help maybe save her life one day or help her out of a sticky situation.
Absolutely. God bless you for that too.
Yeah.
You are empowering her for success one day, and she will not have to go be scared of men.
Right.
Her husband is going to get drunk. You know, no offense. She chooses poorly.
Sure.
For a husband, he gets drunk and starts beating her. Well, that happens in America all the time, and not to a jiu-jitsu lady.
No, you better forget about that.
You just shut up and have your drink and be quiet. That's how that's got to go.
If you're out there, I want to implore on you, get your kids into jiu-jitsu, get yourself into jiu-jitsu. I've been trying to get my dad into jiu-jitsu because his health is not so great. And he actually is interested in it, and I was like, I'm working on it.
Well, do due diligence, do your homework, find the right school, because it really depends on the right school too. If you're not in the right school, it could be a bad experience.
That's
and
true.
Can't control
That's
that.
true.
So find the right schools.
Make sure they're reputable and the people are known nationally and connected to the right people.
And you can hit me up, Keith Owen, on Facebook or Team RHINO, and you can just ask me and I'll point you in the right direction. Because again, my goal is to get people, I don't care about making money so much as getting them into something that would make a black belt one day. If I could just get someone to make a black belt, that's worth my time in my life, you know, and we're promoting jiu-jitsu.
There you said it, from the man himself. Well, Keith, I appreciate you just joining me, sitting down.
Doc,
it's getting late, but you know what? I'm having a ball here talking jiu-jitsu and just life in general with Professor Owens.
Good times.
So I think we're going to wrap this up. I think that's all we got for tonight, and I appreciate you sitting down with me again. For all you guys that out there, I want you to please share the podcast. Comment, like, share, subscribe. If you do not know me, my name is Jameson Sharp, and this is
Professor Keith Owen.
And you're listening and watching the Jiu-Jitsu Takedown podcast. I got some great content coming up in the future. More people are standing up in the Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu fight world and taking notice of what I'm doing here in Kansas City, and they're inviting me. So watch out for that. I'm coming to you with more episodes later this year. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. That's all we got. That's it. Take care, guys. Have a good one.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. All right, we got